It says, follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord.
Wow.
And so Peter said, add to your faith. What did he say? What was the first thing he said?
Virtue.
Virtue. If we cannot show the Jewish people a virgin heart, see, because that's what they're striving for. I spent so many times talking to these Jewish people in Hyannis. They come there and they work for a summer, and this one young man told me about 600 and something laws, and they are after virginity themselves. He said when I sin against one law, I fall down a few steps. And he was telling me about this Jacob's ladder and this. It boggles my mind because of the bondage that he was under, and he was very intense on no grace. I couldn't. I had no ground to I didn't know what to say to him. But a person can tell when there's a virtuous heart. And holiness. How can you have holiness without the Spirit of God? And so how could there be a ministry to the people who are searching for holiness in the first place if you do not have holiness himself ministering peace to another man?
Yeah, for me personally, I figured by the time I got to my age, I would have mellowed out a lot, but obviously that's not the case. I'm like, that's what like a shook up Coke bottle. I'll have plenty to share for the rest of the millennium. I'm going to personally shut it down for myself, and depending upon whatever time is left, I think people other than myself ought to fill in whatever they feel led to fill in.
Brother, I heard what you said. The word ministered to me, and I understand. I appreciate it.
Good word.
See, I'm learning too. This is uncharted territory for me. So thank you for fulfilling the role of guinea pigs. You're really anointed in that area, and I hope you survive the end of the experiment.
I was wondering, Fred, with the time that you put into your diagram up there, if there was some pearl or something from there that you wanted to share with the blessing.
That was art therapy.
Yes.
It's part of my rehab. As you can see, I was not gifted in drawing, but this is what much of the church does. This is what a lot of what I do is. This is let's say the church with a New Testament that's New Testament oriented. They got the pattern, the structure to a T, but the ideas, the impetus for everything starts at the soul level, heads towards the Christ-centeredness, and comes out as a mixture. It's like when your plumbing gets backed up. You've circumvented the natural filtration system. So we got a lot of great ideas. See, like I was saying myself, I had studied the New Testament church pattern. Now, a lot of that is valid. The only difference, all of that is valid. The problem is, what is the life source? What's the life source? So, New Testament pattern, doctrine, ministry, gifts, those are, let's say, basic, okay? And we theoretically talk about Christ, the preeminence of Christ, but in reality, these ideas or ministries are initiated somewhere in the soul level. We approach it. You know what we do? Lord, this is what I want to do for you. Here it is. Bless it and give it back. Give it back to me. That's why you see the U-turn. And what we're doing is we're partaking of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil rather than the tree of life.
Right.
Okay? So it's theory. It's soul initiated. Okay? Now, where is there the valid application of New Testament pattern? There is a New Testament pattern, but it's not the quick fix. What the New Testament pattern is designed for, it's to be the channels through which that divine life goes forth. The outer circle, that's the good works. That's the fruit. Christ is the axle in the middle of the wheel. What was it, Ezekiel 1?
Ezekiel.
He's the wheel in the middle of the wheel. Okay? And here's the spokes. That's the ministries and the gifts and whatever you do. Now, they say, well, then where's the filtration system then? Okay? Because you're still dealing with the soul. The cross. That's the difference. Okay? We all have a soul. Okay? We all have a soul, but it's the cross, it's the degree to which we allow the cross to be applied to our souls that makes the difference. You know, we're filled with the Spirit. This is the outgrowth of it. You know, I must decrease, so he must increase. Okay? So we're here. Instead of it being Spirit-filled, just being a doctrine, you're filled. It's Christ-centered. He's got preeminence. The divine life emanates from Christ. You're filled with the Spirit. You're led by the Spirit, and you manifest the Spirit, coming from the tree of life, which was originally designed. That's how it was originally designed. God's ends are always present in His beginnings. So let me also say this. A big chunk of this is theory for me too. I'm still waiting for a lot of this to become flesh. But unless I know where the bullseye is, I'm never going to hit it. Now, I could even take this and use it in my flesh as a great idea. Okay, that's what I'm presenting to you. But if there's no life behind it, if it's not divinely generated, it's just another interesting teaching. Okay? But this goes along with the discernment process. And if leaders are doing what they're supposed to do to equip the body, not just give it lip service. I mean, how many leaders, well-intentioned, are teaching to their flock Ephesians 4, 1 Corinthians 12, 14, Romans 12. They're teaching it. They're teaching the same things to the same people for 30 years. Okay? It's because they haven't been liberated to work themselves out of a job. They're in bondage. They're victims just as much as we are. And the pity of it is, some of them are the greatest men of God I know. You know, part of maturity is if you will extract the precious from the worthless, then you'll become my spokesman. When you're younger, I think you tend to throw out the baby with the bathwater. But when you get older, it's like you're not blown away by if there's some stuff in there that really, may not be sound doctrine. There's a lot of gold out there. You may have to mine for it a little bit amongst the ore and the fool's gold, but there's some good stuff out there. So, there's so much gold out there that we can benefit for. It's treasure in hidden vessels. So we want to bring out the best, the best of each other. But there will come in time. I mean, God may, sooner or later, what's been deposited in you, it's not going to be wasted. There will be a time where you're going to be put in a situation where it will be time to come forth what God has deposited in you. What Christ, the Spirit of Christ has deposited in you. Okay? Not what men doctrinally has deposited in you, but I'm realistic. What the early apostles had was they invested their lives, but it was imparting Christ. They were more than just teachers. Yes, they definitely were teachers. You see the importance of sound doctrine all through here, because you're going to be confronted not only with spiritual discernment, but doctrinal discernment. But it comes back to Daniel. Those who know their God will be strong and do exploits, even within the context of eschatology. Yeah. Okay. The key thing is knowing your God.
Yes, sir.
That's enough of that. Yeah.
Yes, amen. Amen. Excellent.
of godliness, having a form of godliness but denying the power thereof. I think that's the heyday we're in. We need power. And how do we get that power? Jesus says, this kind cometh not but by prayer and fasting. In American society, we feast instead of fast so often. Thanks be that there are some who do fast. I believe we need to do that. We need to fast God. And our desire, again, I've just been impressed with that. So often us as humans, we're too proud. Our desire to have been right is greater than our desire to be right. So we keep fighting for a dead horse rather than finding something alive. So my prayer is that for all of us, not the Christian societies in general, or all the religions of the world, they're in that they're fighting for a dead horse rather than seeking for something that's like God really has for them. So let's just pray that God can give us that power.